Chris Palme live here at Hamilton Stadium for today's CFL matchup between the 8-7 Calgary Stampeders and the 10-6 Hamilton Tiger Cats. I have a special guest. His name is Steve Milton from the Tiger Cats Audio Network and Ticats.ca. Steve, thoughts on the Tiger Cats rebounding last Saturday in Toronto with that impressive 47-29 win over the Argonauts?
Outstanding. And first of all, thanks for having me, Chris. I really appreciate it. Outstanding turnaround. I don't know if you know this, but that I think is the third biggest turnaround in Tiger Cat history, and I think certainly the biggest since 1999, when they went from a minus 37 the week before to a plus whatever it was against Toronto. I think it was really, really important. It was important for their momentum. It was important not to have a losing streak of 2 games, and now that you can say, instead of having a 2-game losing streak, they've won 4 out of 5, and that's pretty important when you hit this time of year.
How impressive was the defensive play last week against the Argonauts? 9 sacks and I believe 5 turnovers, including 4 interceptions.
They played against who they had to play against, Chris. Obviously the Argos weren't feeling right about at their quarterback after their starter got hurt, and they did it, and they had to make an adjustment too. Don't forget that they'd only prepared partially to play against Iggy. So I thought that was a terrific job of coaching, and secondly getting the pressure on, and they needed to see that because they haven't been making, in my mind, enough sacks and putting enough pressure on certain types of quarterbacks, and they saw an opening there. They blew through that one part of the Argo offensive line. They recognized where the holes were, and they took advantage of it, and they did a pretty good job against the run, and they made the interceptions, they made the 9 sacks. So, and there's a correlation between those two things, obviously, because this is a very aggressive defensive backfield, and they can only play aggressively if you're getting really, really, really good pressure on the quarterback, and that's the way it works. And I think it gave them some momentum. And the other thing is, they learned from their mistakes the previous week. They talked about it all week after they got throttled in Winnipeg. We have to show up on time, and they did, right from the opening kickoff.
What are your thoughts on running back Greg Bell, and how much does he mean to this offense now, especially being healthy?
It changes a lot of things. For a long time, and it's still sort of the same. The pass would set up the run on this team. Now you have to watch Bell later because they get some. I thought it was tremendous because a lot of those yards that he has over the last 5 games, 550, it's a number of touches, and that is a commitment that Scott Milanovich was making, even when they were only making 3 and 4 a few games ago. The number of touches in the last 5 games has been tremendous, and that's pretty important. The line has sort of really solidified a lot more now. They know each other. We forget they had 2 young tackles in the middle 3. Guys were getting used to each other. A center had moved over from guard, was a new guard. Revenberg was kind of the only constant there, plus they had 2 young tackles only in their second year. So that choreography, I like to call it, that dance of the elephants is what I joke about them on that offensive line, has really come along, and that really helps them. So now the run is setting up the pass, which you haven't seen as much of that in the Ticats in the last 2 or 3 years.
Steve, it's been a while since the Grey Cup winner has been in Hamilton since 1999. You've covered this team a long time. Do you feel this team is a legitimate Grey Cup contender and maybe the best team they've had in Hamilton since 99, possibly?
Yeah, the 2021 team was pretty good too. Remember, they could have won the Grey Cup. I would say should have won the Grey Cup. They had the winning touchdown in their hands at home. But yeah, it's one of the best they've had in a long time. And there's something about the team that I like. Remind me a little bit of the Blue Jays. They're an easy to like kind of team. They know how to rally. They have found different ways to win. They talk a lot about process, but every team does. And I think they truly learn from their mistakes. And I really think every team says this, but not every team can do this. That whole thing, we have to go 1-0 this week. We can't think 2 games down the road. And a couple of times that they have thought down the road, or they've said, we just clinched the playoffs. That was part of what happened in Winnipeg. They woke up to find out that they were in the playoffs. And I think that had a little bit of a sagging effect on it. They learned from that. And they really do believe in that 1-0 this week theory. You can't get them to talk about a game 2 down the road, or really after about Wednesday of a week, Tuesday of a week, it's really hard to get them to talk about what happened last week, other than what they might extract from that, but not about sort of what happened.
Thoughts on today's opponents, the Calgary Stampeders, and what are some keys for a Tiger Cat win over a Calgary team that's desperate for a win?
Well, number one, obviously, has to be to stop the run. I mean, they're an RPO team, a really great RPO team, because they have a rollout quarterback who can buy time with his legs. So they've got to stop the run first. They've got to stop Cedric Mills, who leads the league. They have to do that. That's A1 priority. Even though they've got a receiving core that can match just about anybody's. That gets set up better by the run because a lot of that comes on RPO. And they've got to square off and keep VA, that's Fernandez Jr., inside. Make him beat you from the inside and get to him as quickly as you could get from last week. Trouble is, you're going to be playing against a bit better line. Of course, you're playing against a better quarterback than you have in the last couple of weeks. So this is a challenge for them, but I think that's the big thing. And then take advantage of the aggressiveness. Now, Calgary gives up an awful lot of yards, just like Hamilton's defense does. And like Hamilton's defense, they balance that with making big plays. Well, try to take advantage of the fact that they give up an awful lot of yards. And Bo has been, one thing that's happened with Bo is that he'll take now what he's been given, not try to always force it. And then you can go over the top. At one point, he's going to go over the top to Kenny Lawler or to any number of guys that can get down. But possession games, take those little things against the defense. But number one, stop the run.
And finally, Steve, just quick thoughts on the CFL changes to the game in 26-27 from your perspective.
I'm big on it. I would make one tweak, and I've been writing about this for about 40, 50 years, and it's not about but I like the fact that they're going to keep the single point in. I would not give anybody a point for a single for a ball that bounces out of the end zone, because you can play that ball. That's the only change I'll make, and I can guarantee within 2 years that will probably happen, because they'll say, hey, let's make it consistent with other rules. So I like it. You had to do something about it. You can't just sort of stay the way they are. Some of the changes will work, some won't. It reminds me a little bit when the NHL came back from their lockout. And it wasn't anyone. The hockey was was much better. They had to sort of modernize the NHL game, and it wasn't any one rule. They brought, if you remember, there was a million changes of emphasis in the NHL, and it really changed things a little bit. I know a lot of coaches don't like it, certain things about it, but there will be those of us in the game who monitor it and make sure that that they actually are true to the word, that this will always stay a 3-down game. There will always be a restraining line. There will always be 12 men. There will always be the halo, the 5-yard halo, 2 or 3. It'll always be 65 yards wide. That's the big thing. The width is much more important than the depth of the field.
Finally, Steve, where can people find you on social media?
I don't do a lot of social media, but the best is just to because social media is undefeated. I learned that in my days at the newspaper, but I respond to all emails, because that's different than tweeting, and that's Milton, Milton at Ticats.ca, same as all people, and I respond to that. It might take me a minute or two to do it, and of course you can read our stuff on Ticats.ca and listen to it on the Ticats audio network.
Steve, I want to say thank you for doing this interview, and continued success, and look forward to a very good game this afternoon between Calgary and Hamilton at 3 o'clock, and you can listen to it on the Tiger Cats audio network with Rick Zamperin and Simone Lawrence. Talk to you later. Thank you so much, Steve.
Okay, thanks, Kristen. Keep up the good work.